Thanks for joining our live broadcast on television Nigeria. Now, Nigeria's COVID-19 figure inched closer to the 3,000 mark on Tuesday night after the nation's Center for Disease Control confirmed 148 fresh infections in several parts of the country. The NCDC revealed that the number of people infected by the virus is now 2,950, while 5 COVID-related deaths were also confirmed by the center, pushing up the total fatalities in the country to 98. 481 patients have been discharged from isolation facilities across the country after they were certified medically fit by experts. Welcome to the COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. Let's take this quick break. The program continues. Join us again. Thanks for joining us. This is the Situation Room of Television Nigerian. Victor Temba is also in the room today.
Yes, good afternoon.
And also Josephine Paul.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you for joining us. This
Thank
is your
you.
first time on the Situation Room.
Yes, I'm honored to be here, I must say.
Yeah, and also it's also an honor to know that you've been keeping alive and safe.
Yes,
all this while.
truly. Thank you.
So perhaps you must have something to share about this whole experience, COVID-19, the scare, the news, the whole thing, the lockdown, the prison break.
Yes. You know, the COVID-19 is what has been on for this particular period of time. So we all are just taking measures to see how we can curtail the spread, and as well creating awareness to people out there to be able to know how to contain the whole spread of the COVID-19.
And also, what do you really think? On your own certification now, do you think Nigeria is doing very well in the fight against COVID-19?
I think they've tried, the federal government and as well as individuals, they're trying as much as possible to curtail the spread. Because I think as of today, when I was coming on the road, there was a huge traffic. And to my surprise, I saw that the task force are doing their best to be able to handle the whole situation. So they're putting it on a very essential note that everyone must actually wear face masks and they should not overload their vehicles and all that. So they are trying, and NCDC, everybody's just working in place, putting their whole effort to curtail the spread. So Nigeria, I think with time, everything will just be better. We're just looking forward to a situation where we'll just hear the news that COVID-19 is no more.
Over.
It's over, yes.
Well, until we get that news, you mentioned that the people are, the government officials, they're actually, but then what about the people? Did you notice any marked difference in the responses, like the transportation, for instance? Are we still having overcrowded buses or taxis and all of that?
You know, I don't know, Nigerians, Africans, most people are just stubborn. Most people are just they're not. A lot of people are trying to their best to curtail the spread, but you know there'll still be a lot of people that are not willing to do this because I think as of last week, the directives given to always wear face masks and avoid crowded vehicles. Some drivers would not listen, but they would load their vehicles and all that. And then the social distancing. Yes, last week I must say it was not impressive. I saw a lot of people come out. It's as if they just blew a whistle somewhere, or they open the cage and everyone just runs out to just be all free and all that. But the social distancing of the thing, the whole measure, they are not, really adhering to it, and that's really sad. Because I still see a lot of crowded places like banks and all, and then some vehicles are still loaded, more than 3 passengers and more than 2 in their vehicles. So it's quite sad. But I know most people are still trying to curtail the spread and adhering to the measures, but a lot of people are still going astray and not following the measures. Yeah, as if nothing is happening.
Now, 2,950. Victor, what do you say?
By tomorrow it will be 3,000, over 3,000 deaths. Yeah.
No, we don't pray for that, you know.
No, but
It's
it's
not
like,
what being
yeah,
at this
not
point
about
it's not
prayers this
what we pray for or not, but
Yeah.
that's
the
what
reality.
it's
Reality,
going to
true.
be. Yeah, my only concern is I have never really thought that we'll have up to 3,000 cases, but from what I'm looking at this moment, we'll even get past the 5,000 mark as time goes on. But my major concern has always been is the death rate, because every time the NCDC comes out to give updates, I do not particularly focus on the new figures. I'm just looking at how many recoveries have we gotten, how many, because I think that is where the real issue lies. So
Yeah, true.
if we get people recovering more and less death, then we will understand
There's
that
an improvement.
we are on top of the situation,
Yes.
we are on top of it, we are on it and trying to get it sorted. But at the reality, at what it is now, by tomorrow we should be hitting over 3,000. And the death rate will also continue. So it's at this moment that I'll just say it again. Everybody should just take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Try all means possible to make sure you don't expose yourself, you don't become vulnerable to the virus, because there's a very likelihood that if you get the virus in Nigeria, you will die from it.
You get the virus from Nigeria. You keep saying this, and also now you said people should take care of themselves. And the news we saw today about 34 doctors in Kano State tested positive, and some policemen as well. Now these are people in the front line, like we did talk about yesterday. We talked about the media, journalists, and all of that. Now health care givers are supposed to. I mean, they're in the front line now. 34 in one state. How does that news sit with you?
It doesn't sit well at all, not with anybody, because at the end of the day, we have to also understand that we have limited personnel in the health sector in the first place. So if we have that kind of large number falling into the virus, at the end of the day, we might not be looking for doctors to take care of the doctors in the first place. So, and then you also, we should remember that Kanu, because maybe they didn't really prepare well, or at the point, how the situation really are in Nigeria, and they didn't really have the equipment. Not most people have. So maybe perhaps these doctors were the ones that maybe attended to patients in the first place without even knowing that this is COVID-19 case, or maybe these are also doctors or health workers that did not have the PPE gear to wear to listen, protect themselves. But sometimes even when you have this PPE, once you're in constant contact with these guys, there's always that little chance that somehow, somewhere, there might be a slip up, and then you get to contract the virus. But then it's actually very sad that those who are actually working overtime to keep the rest of the country safe are also falling victims.
Now, isn't it like also another indictment on the state of healthcare facilities? If doctors actually are not even protected themselves, they don't have enough PPE. Where do we begin to lay the blames now? You know the enormity as a medical professional. You should know how serious or the severity of COVID-19 and also the dangers of not being adequately protected. So even if the government have not provided those protections, is there something that they can do? Like, okay, refuse to go in to assist and also become a victim, or just go in there to save life and also fall a victim? It's like a dilemma now for the medical health professionals.
No, the thing is, as a doctor, you are more or less like a soldier. So
you just go there.
Yeah, you go to the war front at any time, because your job entirely is to save life, just as much as the job of a soldier is to protect the integrity of the country and all of that. So, and then talking about where to lay the blame, it will not depend under what circumstances that these guys are falling into this coronavirus here. So if it's a result of attending to patients unknowingly that these guys have coronavirus, that is excusable. And it's also the fact that constantly attending to these patients of coronavirus, and then somehow they get it. I think that's just the less than casualty of what you might say, not that it's really their fault. But at the same time, if it's as a result of them not having the adequate equipment or the gear to protect themselves, then we cannot talk about the government laying the blame on the government. Because I believe that at least medical practitioners, they will know all of the guidelines, ways to basically protect themselves from the virus.
Now, Josephine, there's a report I saw recently that said 1 in every 8 Nigerian tested returns positive. That's tested by the NCDC, returns positive to coronavirus. Now, I think Nigeria have to be tested about 19,000 on a whole. The rate of the test and the fact that 1 out of every 8 returns positive, and the numbers we have already, doesn't it tell something that out of 200 million, or are we up to 200? Maybe 200.
We are not sure yet.
You're not sure yet, but it's just like speculation. Some will say 198 million, some say 200 and something million. Now, out of that whole number, we are not even done 20,000. We are not even done 30,000. And we are having so many, the number we have right now, almost 3,000 cases. So perhaps when the test now becomes more, that means, in fact, the whole place would have been overwhelmed.
Honestly, it's quite devastating, because each and every test that's been conducted, there's actually a tendency of one being tested positive, and the case increasing. Now, my question is, the whole situation, everything right now is COVID-19, everything right now is the whole coronavirus. So if one goes to the hospital or one complains of being sick, you come back and you hear results of being positive, you understand? So I just feel like, are you sure this test or this testing that they're doing, this testing that they're conducting on these people, are you sure the result really comes out to be positive? Or because of the whole situation happening right now, so one actually would just confirm that you are positive, or you're a carrier of this virus and all that, because it keeps increasing and it keeps rising. And then it looks like there's every thing that's happening right now, if it's not really looked into. Like, if you're sick, you go to the hospital, you're being quarantined, you understand? And then from being quarantined, they carry your test, they take out tests from you, maybe they go to do a sample of it, and then they come back to be positive. So I just feel like, in a way, let it not just be that because one is sick or one is being quarantined and then they go for a test and then it's positive. Let it be true that it's really true, it's really positive, or the results are really true. And let it not just be that they're putting the sickness or the virus on people, or just saying that they're positive, meanwhile the test is not really true and they're positive and all that, because it keeps rising and it keeps increasing every single time. But how sure are the tests being conducted?
Now, Victor, 19,512 tests done all over Nigeria, and then we went ahead to lift a lockdown. What does it really say, given at the rates of this response, at the rates at which people fall ill to this, and the fact that it keeps escalating? What should government be thinking about right now?
What government should be thinking about right now is increasing the testing capacity of the NCDC at the moment, because I think if they increase the capacity, it will also basically let them speed up the testing to the NCDC. So it means they will go to the people faster, test more people, and at the point where you are getting positive results, then you are isolating those people, making provisions for those sort of people so that they don't go. And I also took from your point, I think I understand the merits and the demerits of your argument, in the sense that because the way when you look at COVID-19, they say it also has symptoms that are similar to other sort of sickness that has to do with flu. So perhaps, I don't know the sequence they use to arrive that it is completely coronavirus per se. So perhaps there might be that slight error that once the symptoms are getting similar to this coronavirus of a thing, and then they just agree that you are positive to that. But at the same time, I also understand that it's also possible that we have these large numbers, because this virus so far is like kerosene. When you put a drop of kerosene inside water, just a drop, it spreads a lot. And so you look at this virus, like it is less than transmitted via air. It can be on the surface, and the mystery of this virus is something I've not gotten. I've not read an article yet. Nobody has explained it to me, because if the virus is supposed to be in the body, I don't know how I'm supposed to contact it by, or just pass it to someone else by. By touching.
They say you touch and you take it in. Maybe when you touch and you
so
touch it in your mouth.
Or your nose.
But the thing is, how did the virus now get to be on those surfaces that I mistakenly touch?
Yeah, because through an infected person, you know, it can go out through fluids.
Okay.
Maybe when you are talking saliva, or that's why they are talking about the nose face masks and all of that, and it lands on the surface. It can live for hours. So another person coming in contact with that surface just takes it. It goes, and so actually the human being is the host. Then it becomes active when it gets to the normal host.
So it does basically mean that it is not that so. Personally, as I'm saying it now, if I understand it that it's this way, then it's not that really that difficult for we to defeat the whole virus.
Yeah, but because it's defeating us somehow.
Yeah, because that
keeps spreading.
That is because people just don't
follow the precautions.
Yeah, follow precautions. Because if with this and then you include the precaution of washing your hands regularly, using your face mask, and using hand sanitizer, then I don't think you should be having that, because if you pick it and then you're the type that basically washes your hand regularly, you would have washed it out before any time. And if you use your face mask, then it means even somebody has it and the person speaks to you doesn't get to you.
And that's why they insist on this distancing, 1 meter distance, and all of that, because something is not actually airborne. So there is the distance at which it can actually go on air, drops on the surface, you know, and one picks it up and it begins to spread. But it's spreading, that is the issue.
Yeah. So now, can we also now begin massive loss of fumigation of these areas that are mostly infected?
That is an issue.
Yes.
It's not really seen.
I buy into that idea, because I think most countries, I think, is it China?
Every other country you see
fumigations everywhere.
The government is furiously fumigating everywhere before actually any ease down or whatever you call it. Everywhere is fumigated. I don't even know how useful that one is. Fumigation. But it's actually it's something to do.
Yes.
It's a measure. And now let's look at also this issue of some of the measures put in place, interstate boundaries. There was in the news we've seen in the news about people forming human cargo. I mean, a truckload of animals or food stuff, and then humans are hiding inside just to leave their state. I'm wondering, what is it? Are you actually escaping from somewhere to another place? What is this all about? I think it was in news. Is it Almajiris now? Some say Almajiris, some say youths were intercepted in Abia State, all the way from
some in states.
Yes.
There has also been in Osun State as well.
Yes.
People moving.
So what is it actually? What is happening?
Yeah, I don't want to believe that they are escaping from something or trying to sneak into. It's more of like one of the major crises of human beings is movement. We would like to move. So
even in a time of pandemic like
this,
this.
At this time, you see, because it is not war. They don't. Actually, it looks like war, but because it's not the actual war where there are bombs and gunshots everywhere, the people will not really understand it. They will still feel like I should still get to move. You know, the thing is, when they say people stay at home, don't even go to the market, you see people like after 2 days want to go to the market. But if there is war, for example, where there is gunshots and bombs and everything, they won't even want to step outside of their gates for the fear of this stray bullet or stray bomb coming from somewhere to hit them. So in this case, it's more like they just want to go to this state, and then they are also aware that they cannot, as human passengers, be granted passage. So they just look for other places and cunning ways to get across and to those states by following this.
Transportation.
So I think that's just more like they just have that desire to really move from one point to another point. So they just have to improvise and be creative.
And also being creative, is it like there is something not really in place?
I don't think this is right, because it's illegal for you to even try to hide under a coverage, probably a goods in a motor van and all, just to escape from one route to another. I want to look at that on this aspect of probably they're trying to survive, probably they're moving out maybe where they are because of the non-availability of palliatives for them, or what to eat and how to feed and all that. So it's just giving them this, human beings, we can we cannot be caged for long. Somehow you must
Yes,
always
that's the
get
point.
a way around it, find a way around it. So you can imagine that someone is trying to hide inside, a coverage of something in a car just so that you cannot be, seen. But you know that what you're doing, what you're practicing right now is wrong, but you're doing it. I feel like they're just trying to, survive, try to move away from where they are to somewhere else, even at a very risky level, because that's a risk. What if that person trying to hide there, moving from that state to another state is a carrier, is a patient that's positive? So you're moving the virus to another place and to spread it as well. That is what is very bad, and it really needs to be checked. That's why it's actually advisable that task force, police on the road, they should try as much as possible to do proper and intense checking of vehicles, the boats, and all that, because this, if it's just left unlooked or taken into place, it will just continue, and people will find means, because somehow when this person arrives, they will want to share. This is how I came, and then someone is not getting the information, they not want to try it out. So it has to be checked and taking note of.
Now, information management at this point, because if there are like these people sneaking around, we are actually well sensitized. Do you think how do you think the information management around COVID-19 has actually really been, especially in the grassroots? Because now you've seen places like Kano, Jigawa, and all of that, strange deaths being recorded, the escalating numbers of COVID-19, and you look at the level of education, the level of awareness in all those places. So how the information management, especially going down to the grassroots?
I think when it comes to information management, I think that is one other area that the government has really done well. They've really tried, and they have tried so much that these messages are not even passed in one particular language. They're also passed in different languages. So even those areas, we even go to market, even the local market, there are write up about COVID-19, what we should do, and so they know. They really understand. Even those people sneaking out, not that they are not aware of what they are doing. They basically know what they're doing, but just that maybe they have a pressing need of definitely trying to move from one place to another. So it's the reason why they just have to undertake that kind of journey in that way. So, but even when it comes to information, it is not really like the federal government, because I believe the government has done well, and not just government has also try to partner with even CSOs, for example, to pass the message, and then other non-government organizations are also doing the lesson explanation of information concerning COVID-19. So it's not like they're not aware or they didn't get to hear.
Just the people just
move. Just like you say, human beings are not people that you can cage in one place for so long. They will definitely want to move. You see people in prison that are always trying to escape.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I've had some governors releasing prisoners just to decongest the prisons, and then those ones will now go out all right. So let's believe that government has been doing enough in terms of sensitizing Nigerians. So it's up to Nigerians now to do the needful, follow instructions, especially about COVID-19. It is real. It is out there. I actually love one advert on COVID-19. They said they did it in pidgin language. Somebody brings it, pass it to Papa, Papa pass it to It's actually very creative. And all those kind of things. But people will just look at it and laugh about it.
I feel like it's really... I came across a video that was very sad. Like a lady, an old woman, she was just asked, like, what is coronavirus? I say, that's it. I don't know, I'm that witch, will come near me, you understand? So some people are already feeling like, oh, it's nothing, and it's not a serious stuff, so they just take it for granted. Do you understand? I'm not doing the measures and all. So you can imagine. And
then some other people think it's what they can rebuke and reject by the blood of
everything.
Yes.
All right, it is top of the hour. Let's go to the news desk and get some news headlines. COVID-19 situation returns after then. Join us again. Thanks for joining us again. This is the Situation Room of Television Nigeria. We've just gone by, we saw some news headlines. And then one of the items in the news about Lagos and Abuja, some kind of situation about the running out of test kits, isolation centers and all of that. And then we saw also in the news, the government is barring the PTF from the COVID-19 funds, and also they talk about going to build isolation test centers in 36 states of the country. How do you put all of these things together? There is a fund somewhere. There's somebody that's supposed to be in charge of this. Or are they not actually supposed to be in charge and touch this money? How are you going to build this? So let's make some kind of clarifications for the sake of our viewers.
As per the PTF, they are just a task force to make sure, or to just oversee situation, respond, advise government, and all. They don't have any business with spending. Yes.
So who should spend?
The spending will be the federal government through this Ministry of Health and Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and Humanitarian Affairs, which is actually headed by Umar Farouk. Yes, idea. So
and through the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, exactly. Where they will get the clearance to get the fund from.
So you see how the bureaucracy is building.
You know, it is not really bureaucracy like that.
We know how it is.
No, because
you have to carry files and all of that.
No, but the thing is, the fund is there. It means that there's a fund already set up for this COVID-19. So all the PT has to do is, while they are responding, they are noting something, and then they advise the government that we need to do this, you need to spend on this. So the federal government takes it. Then the money is there. You just dip your hand into it.
Let's just dramatize or something. Let's just say, okay, this is PTF. Government do this, you write a file and move it. From moving here to whoever, you said Ministry
of Disaster and Humanitarian
takes another 3 or 4 days. Okay, disaster looks at it, okay, fine. Now move to finance. Finance looks at it, oh, super, fine. Then you move it to who? The consultants or the contractors, or before you now say procure. The processing, isn't it? This is a critical time. You need quick reactions to issues.
No, but then
we've been getting funds. These funds are there. Disburse these funds. Let them be. They are talking about Lagos and Abuja running out of test kits, making spaces, and then we are talking about bureaucracies and chains that has to pass through before stuff gets. Isn't it a source of worry, or you think it's all okay?
It is all okay. It is not a source of worry. It is not this bureaucracy. It is just the right way to do this. To do this thing. The PTF cannot spend money. The PTF can be in charge of spending the COVID-19 fund. And besides, this whole pandemic is a priority right now. So once the PTF makes recommendation, you'll be surprised that it will be passed through the same day. Once just gets to the minister and he sees it and says, okay, we need this money. And I believe right now that if there's a fund for it, there is no need sending the same report to the Minister of Finance.
But you have to go through the whole process.
No, I don't think there is. The whole process of, in fact, once the fund is there and it has been set up, it means it has already passed the whole process of meeting the Minister of Finance, whatever. It's just that the fund is now here.
No, disbursement of this fund now.
Yes.
Now somebody has to sign, somebody has to approve, somebody has to receive, somebody has to give.
But I think that's the whole thing. Once the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, who is in charge of it, signs it, and then money gets released. Okay,
so why should we be talking about shortage of whatever at this time?
Almost every country has that problem. Almost every country has that problem.
Okay, the problem is the kits are not coming from the
because the kits is when you look at it, like, if let's take for example that we are 200 million people, then how can we begin to produce testing kits immediately that we get, and then we know for a fact in this country that we don't even produce test kits. So we now need to buy. Is it really possible that we should buy like 100 million test kits just say for half of the population of the citizens, for that matter? So there are definitely going to be a shortage.
But the shortage is not what we're supposed to be talking at this moment right now, because it's risky. Like, a lot of people are being, tested positive, and a lot of patients, and with the whole situation, people are coming out to riot, and Lagos is saying that they are running out of test kits. It's sad. Yeah. It's a very devastating situation at this moment, and it needs to be, tackled and put in place. However they want to make availability of these kits how they want to send it, it should just be put in place, and they should take adequate, perspectives right now. Like they should just push towards producing this kits, because it's very risky and it's not.
So
something
what you are trying to let us understand is, out of all the research institutes, out of all the whatever centers we have all over Nigeria, nobody has been able to do some kind of testing or some kind of local, all of our scientists.
It's not a fact that they cannot. It's not that they cannot, but nobody is giving them that ground for them to do this stuff. And
it's still what we're talking about, the grounds now, and we have money.
But the thing again is,
why don't you empower these people to produce more test kits?
Yeah, but then again, let's understand that very few countries actually have sufficient. Very few. I don't even think they're even up to 5.
Because we are depending.
No, that have
China to bring to
more,
give, because they have a situation. They have to satisfy themselves before they give out. America or whatever, they have to, because some people actually said it was laughable when Donald Trump was talking about giving 200 respirators, and we're like, okay, even in New York and every other people, they are having shortage, and you're thinking about giving out. So it wasn't going to come anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
So
you have to work satisfied.
exactly. So we expected it to come from somewhere. It's not coming, and then we're having shortages all over the place, and people are dying, and the rate is increasing, and we have forms that we still have to go through bureaucracy for us to overcome.
But then again, I think sometimes you even need a little bit of that in bureaucracy. Like I said, this pandemic is a priority, so it won't take that long bureaucracy that we get to know government for. And by the time you just get this fund set up, and then you just put it in the hands of the PTF, there will hardly be accountability. It's at the point you will now begin to ask questions that how were these funds spent, and what happened, and what's happened there. And then one other thing is, once people have access to funds like that without any guidance or any limitations, we know what might happen.
And interestingly, the recently announced Abacha loot that was recovered, I don't know, maybe I skipped it. Was there any mention of being how it's going to be implemented? Was there any mention about COVID-19?
No,
I saw something about bridge,
yes,
the second Niger bridge,
yeah.
Road to Abuja and Kano and all of that. And we are having a situation.
Yes, that particular fund would have been returned as early as last year. Yeah, so already there were already plans for the money. Yes, and one of these conditions of this release of this money is that this money must be put into use for some stuff. So I think this was the agreement that we are going to use it to fund infrastructures.
But for the fact that they released it at this time of a critical situation and everybody needs money, Nigeria was applying for loan. So now this one came. But this is not a loan now. This is a dash.
I think a gift. Like you say, it's a dash, it's a gift. Because this is the moment where people with funds are used to tackle the whole COVID-19 coronavirus. So if they can use it for the for provisions or tackling measures concerning coronavirus, COVID-19, they can use it. Make provisions for people that do not have testing kits and all that is put in place just so that this thing, coronavirus, can be tackled.
Now, so let's not curiously, I kind of get curiouser, even though it's the wrong use. Now, what actually has the government invested in the fight against this coronavirus? Now, we'll talk about palliatives. They say they were sharing to 20,000. Is it 20 or thereabout? There are still a lot of questions about all of that. Now, the food that was being disbursed, we saw it was something that was stored already and all of that. So, where actually has these funds been? I mean, I've not heard of any new center being built or kits being supplied or thereabout, bought by the government from the funds made for coronavirus. So, what actually has it been spending on?
And that's a very big question.
That was going to be my first answer. It's a very deep question because I was in the cab, and I'm not even in the cab. I was inside the car, and then this question came up, and the man that asked it was so bitter. Like, where are the funds? What are they using this money to do? What are we hearing the federal government are doing? Because it's a critical situation. This is a time where they have to stand up. This is a time that those taxes that people have been paying, they use it to fund and make provisions for people. Palliatives, they say they are giving out, but a lot of people are still crying and still yearning that they don't have, they cannot survive, they cannot feed. So where are the funds being? What are they put in place? What are they used for? Where are federal governments placed at the moment?
Exactly, because it's actually a question that I've also pondered on. Like, the government seem very busy.
Yeah.
Going about this thing, but then you wonder what are they exactly busy doing? Yeah, because you can't really lay your hands on something that you say these guys are investing, they're doing something. Yes, they might be sharing palliatives,
all those things.
Palliatives, we know how the palliatives came.
Yeah,
and we've seen individuals. In fact, we actually covered a corporate organization that went to the FCTA to donate food, to donate even masks, even hand gloves, sanitizers, and all of that.
I think individually, some people are just taking this upon themselves to just see how they can help their community and all.
So what is the government
and
part in it?
That is also the question I even asked. Lagos is crying that they are running out of bed spaces. Lagos has a center, infectious disease hospital in Yaba. I think that was where they actually started the first this thing. Said, give us Onikon Stadium. We are going to set up an isolation center here. Lagos State government gave them Onikon Stadium, and they actually set up the isolation center. So
it's up there.
Yes, it's still up there. In fact, some of the cases they have, that is where they are being kept. So I was wondering that now, where is the investment of Lagos State? Remember when this whole thing started, the recent president released 15 billion, 5 billion to go to the NCDC, 10 billion to go to Lagos, 4 billion will be as a refund of whatever they have spent so far, 6 billion will be government support for them to, since it's an what are a kind of epicenter of the whole. And I'm like, so you have 6 billion naira extra from the federal government. As a state government, you must do something to protect your own people. So, okay, let's just assume that the 10 billion given to you, it should be something you are putting in. And then you wonder, like, so what did they really spend 10 billion naira on?
Given the fact that there is no vaccine, that they have said you spent on acquiring this vaccine. So the treatment they receive there is just routine treatment in all these isolation centers. Okay, or would they say we are feeding people in isolation or thereabout? Is it enough to justify the billions? So now I was facing that if GT Bank as a private company use the kind of indiconstant to set up their own isolation center, you still have 3 very large venues in Lagos. You can use the 2 different stadiums. There's the main Bo National Stadium, or you can also use TBS Stadium. It will provide with enough spaces for bed and isolation center. Then you have TBS Square there too in less than CMS. That you can also set up something there. These are very large. You can go to Sky Power in Ikeja there. They have 2 police college can even give you their own feed as well. You can set up. So this is like they're running out of base spaces. Where is the investment of the Lagos State government? It's the same question we ask me. Where is also the investment of the federal government exactly in this thing? Money are being signed out, going out, and then we are trying to see this, but then we don't really understand what's going on. It is what my aunt will always say then when I was small. She would actually tell me that you're always busy, but you're busy doing nothing. Busy doing nothing. Like China built, you think it's like 1 week or 7 days, they built a
1,006 bed capacity bed.
I know that's an investment, and you saw it doing. And they developed labs and all of that. So what have we actually?
And just also even funding scientific research to see how they could come up with this, and then we are not even doing any of that. But the money is going to that. We even have to even borrow 3.4 billion, which is what I was going to say, that people should not worry about the 311 million coming electively used for what's going to be used. We have 3.4 billion coming, so we can use that.
Okay, it's not even come yet, it's coming.
No, they have actually started disbursing the loan.
The loan.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Government, I hope you are listening. We are asking questions. What have we really actually been doing for the millions of naira coming in in the fight against COVID-19? Perhaps we will get answers soon enough. But while we wait for the answers, let's go to the streets to get this report from Chinwendu Osisiolo, a reporter who went out to observe the way people came out after the ease of the lockdown, and especially this group of Nigerians encountered some difficulties trying to access their funds or do some transactions at the bank. Let's join Chiwendu in the street and find out more.
Following the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari on the ease of the COVID-19 lockdown, looking around the banks, you can see that most banks have resumed their daily activities, and you can see a lot of customers in front of the bank waiting to do one transaction or the other. I'm here to get the views of those bank customers on how they have been attended to and the challenges they have been occurring right from when they started. Stay with us. You can see that a lot of people are in front of the bank trying to do one transaction or the other. What are the challenges you're actually going through right now?
You see, we are trying to see how our transaction can continue. Like personally, in my own experience, my ATM card expired just before this corona issue. I got to the bank twice. I was told that they have no card. So during this period of quarantine, or so what do we call it? There was no way I can bank. I tried to enter internet, they required the card number and everything. So that means all my money was locked up in the bank. So when they said, okay, they will open today, we came in here, I think since 10 o'clock, and this is getting to 2. We are not being attended to. And you ask them, they are treating us like if we are outcast in our own money, in our own right, First Bank here. They are not attending to us. They say they shared some numbers since 9 o'clock. But what we got in the news before we came here, that the bank will open from 10 to 3 or 2. We try to make sure we are here. Normally when you are in a bank before the banking hour, you should be attended to. Even if after the hour they attend to you inside. Since they asked us to stay outside, they are supposed to have given us numbers outside to see that we are here before 2. But they are saying that by 2 they will tell everybody to go, even if you have spent the whole day. So they are not doing it right. Notwithstanding the fact that they are with our money, they don't want to do anything. I don't know whether First Bank is tired of customer or anything of such nature.
Yes, because during this lockdown, I have a problem with my account. Transfer money, then somebody is complaining that see the alert of the money. The money did not inflect to his account. So I decided to come to the bank so that I print a statement account to that person. But so unfortunately I was here around 10 o'clock. Up to now, you see they are sharing numbers before somebody will get into the bank. So I try to have patience and wait. I even canceled my work today. The problem now, we are facing sun and no food. If you don't have, we come to claim money here. And the money is now not in our pocket. So no way to even eat, nothing. So we just stay here suffering, and bank cannot attend us on time.
So how have we been coping even before the banks opened?
We are coping just by the will of God. We hang around somebody that pass you. Is there anything that person eat? You throw your complaint, your request to that person. That person should help you if something remains to his house.
Okay, so what do you advise the banks to do?
What I observe, banks should allow their branches to open so that to avoid this. Yeah.
It's good like that because of the government, they take care of us, and the issue is that those coronavirus is everywhere. Nobody knows this man has his coronavirus. This one is better like that to government take care of us. It's good like that.
Okay. Even they talk about people waiting under the sun now. How did they go? Are you a customer to the bank?
I'm a customer.
So how did they take money under the sun?
What
time did you come?
Since morning. I came here by 7 o'clock. They don't attend me.
Okay, so you like what did they do?
I like what they do because you say they allow people, everybody do his own things. There is problem. But the way they are handling people is good like that.
I did not face challenge today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly did you come to do?
I came to do transfer.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what time did you come?
I came before 2 and I was attended to.
So you like the procedure you're taking, you're wearing your face masks and maintaining social distancing?
Yes, I like the procedure that you are taking. And we are praying for you. That the Lord will continue to see us through.
Center, and the bank officials are not accepting them entering.
So what exactly did you come to do in the bank, and have you been attended to?
Yes, actually they have attended to me.
So what exactly were you doing? Did you come to make some transactions or?
Yes.
What else do you want to probably advise the banks to do, probably to work on?
Not like bank, I don't have anything to advise them. I just want to advise the PTF in general that the way they are addressing the COVID pandemic in the city center, they are not attending to people in the village. I know of a village in Enugu State that have the capacity of about 3,000 people. They don't have even one borehole there. The federal government, the presidential task force team, they are not attending to them. They are only concentrating on city center. How do they get to the root of the problem?
I discovered that the people refused to open the bank. So instead they were attending to people outside. And the thing now delayed. Maybe because of the pandemic or because of the COVID-19 something. So at least it's unusual. It's not like before that we come and go on time.
Okay, so what exactly did you come to do in the bank?
Actually, I've come to maybe renew my ATM and also see whether I can withdraw money. So but it's delaying. So since they cannot finish today, so they are asked to come tomorrow.
Maybe they can improve their system. Maybe like if they are facing network problem, they have to get it like guarantee so that they can work fast, so that they can settle everybody.
They have to employ more people so that there will be more space for people to enter and deposit their money.
No, I came to use the ATM, not really the inside, and I'm through with the ATM.
Okay, but you've been seeing people, hovering around the banks, trying to make one transaction or the other. What exactly can you say to people like this, especially now that there's coronavirus everywhere?
What I saw on telly yesterday on Facebook in Abuja and Lagos is not encouraging at all. The lockdown, leaving people to go out again, it was like leaving dogs out of the cage. Everybody was on the road at the same time as yesterday. Today I think it's a bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better today, but still, it's not encouraging. It's not. People shouldn't pour out as if the world is going to end today. Gradually, people will get what they want. It doesn't mean that everybody must be at the bank at the same time. One after another. Because 1, 2, 3 persons contracted in a family, everybody is gone. And the way people are rushing, going into the banks, buses, no, it's not the best.
What do you advise people to do now?
Hey, like I said, they should take it easy. Take it easy, obey the rules. Whatever they say we should do, wash it. Like, I have my hand sanitizer here already, the face mask is there. It should be a culture. For now, let us imbibe with all these things until it goes down.
I'm on front transaction.
Okay.
And because of the queue here, I couldn't see yesterday and today.
Like, what time did you come here?
I came here in the morning. Yesterday, in the morning around 9, I was there. 9 today, I was there again.
All right. So what advice will you have for the banks so that they can improve on their work?
The bank should be they should improve on their customer service.
It's debit issue. I came to, I used my POS in my office and they debited me twice. And I've been complaining about this money since that same month or since March. 2 days after they debit me, I came and complained. Up to now, they have not resolved it. So I don't really know what is going on with the bank anyway. Maybe they are folding up. They don't understand. Because even people that have millions in their account, they came here with the same complaint. Yesterday, they even want to beat up the manager in this bank yesterday. Honestly, it's not easy.
Oh, okay. So what has been the challenges you've been facing?
It has really been stressful because I expected that all branches of this bank be open. But it's quite unfortunate that some of the branches are not even working at all. Because I've been here since morning by 7. And this is the time I'm leaving. I wasn't able to do what I came to do. It is really stressful. I actually plead with NCDC to place maybe something like a law that will enable these banks, all branches, to open in full?
I really have a lot, my sister. The COVID-19 instruction is not followed.
Okay.
Over 1 million people plus. There was no social distance, nothing of such. And now to harness the whole issue is that they could not follow the directive given by NDC, who would have been the first point of contact. They did not follow it. Now people like us, I'm a retiree, have not gotten a dime because they say the crowd is too much, that we should come back again on Thursday.
You've heard the views of bank customers. Most of them came to the bank to renew their ATM and other services, but could not meet up with time due to the fact that most banks are supposed to close by 2 p.m. And that's the much we have for you today on
Thanks for joining us again. We just saw Nigerians expressing some of their experience, sharing their experience at the banking sector, what they had to go through trying to either access their accounts or withdraw or do one or two other transactions, and it hasn't been easy. Of course, it's not going to be easy because they just came back after a whole long time. Things are not supposed to be smooth. So adjusting life after COVID-19. We've always talked about it. This is one of the practical so we see that even the system itself is taking time to reset. Just like going back to default. It's going to take some kind of time. So Nigerians, is it like we didn't anticipate that, or is it the way the doors were opened for everybody to just come out that made people have this kind of experience?
This problem mostly is with the bank customers and the bank itself. Some bank actually anticipated this opening, so they prepare adequately. There are some banks you go to. Those are the kind of banks that give you sitting or standing outside that respects the 1 meter space and all of this. So those are also the type of banks that some of them refuse to attend to some certain class of customers if you're not if your case is not really genuine and all of that. And there was also cases of some people, which is just the typical Lagos people. It's like they just went to the line. They didn't have any business with the bank, but they just stood there in line, occupying space. So if you're in a hurry, they set their space for you to basically move on. So that also contributed to the kind of difficulties that some Nigerians experience at the banks and all of that. But then I also heard the concerns of people there that they were already there, and the bank, why they were outside, the bank closed, and then left them unattended to. And meanwhile, normal practice is once you're at the bank,
you must be attended
yes,
to.
So even if it's past time, you must be attended to. But in this case,
but it's an extraordinary time. I think the banks did not really. They didn't just function like a normal.
No, they can't function. They can't really function normal. And again, also understand that there is curfew. And what about these banks? Once they've been closed by that 4, it is not like they are totally closed. Yes. So it's just the doors that are shut. So they continue other sort of activities or and operations inside that people outside don't know of yet.
So Nigerians should just begin to get used to the fact that it's going to take some time before everything comes back to normal. And I consider the fact that actually somewhere, somehow, some people are actually talking about bringing back the lockdown.
Somehow, I think I heard, because I overheard that kind of statement that they might actually bring back the lockdown if people are not adhering to the measures that have been put aside. Because as I said last week, I'll still repeat what I said. They were not adhering to the measures that were given. I could see vehicles loaded with 4 at the back. I could see some drivers still carrying 2 at the front. So I think when that was addressed and when that was looking into place, they had to release some task force to be at some places and make sure that this is adhered to. So if this is not adhered to and we're still having cases of increased number of cases positive and all that, then it's prone to having them raising a lockdown again or a ban for a lockdown again.
No, because if it keeps increasing,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to put a lot more pressure on a whole lot of things. Already, Lagos is currently talking about spaces to contain people. Abuja, test kits, and the whole country just tested 19,000 people. I mean, out of millions, we are not even going up to 50,000, not to talk about 100, and we have millions of Nigerians untested. It means actually there might be millions of coronavirus running riot somewhere that we might not really get to. It's really a source of worry. Now, some COVID-19 patients who were under quarantine, they staged a protest in Gombe. And I think the federal hospital in Gombe State, they were protesting the condition of how they are being kept in quarantine. Now, they have not really been confirmed patient, like they have COVID-19. So they take them to quarantine. Government is supposed to provide for them, isn't it? Yeah, they're supposed to be fed, they're supposed to be taken care of in those places. And now they it wasn't coming and they took to the streets. So what does it tell us about this whole fight against
It still boils down to the big question we asked before we took a break. What is federal government doing? Because these people you can see they don't have patience, so they are all out to let them know, the world know, okay, we need something has to be done and all that. I was even hearing cases of people being quarantined closer to a center near a cemetery. I don't know if you came across that story. So what are they expecting? Like, they should just be there in that spot, and then when they die, because the cemetery is closed, they can just throw them away. Just imagine. But it's very sad, because I think this is a time where they have to be looking into this. These people they are human beings. They are crying out. They are yearning for help, obviously. I know that situation is really crazy, because everybody's out now. Everyone is shouting and fighting and rioting for help and all. So if in that case there are patients that are really positive, so that means everyone has it. The whole thing has been spread already.
And
so
like they actually said, after the whole thing, some of them went away, some went back to the center. So if those ones that went away are the ones that actually had, because they have to stay 14 days, isn't it? Yeah. Before they now run another test to determine whether they are positive or not. Or how was the procedure for this quarantine, the whole quarantine thing?
No, I don't think it was just on quarantine at the moment. We were just in isolation. The first
yeah, that's isolation. What's the difference between isolation and quarantine? I think somebody did that thing on the street.
Yeah, but that thing, when you just look at this on quarantine, is just like at the time that did not consider you are confirmed to be a threat to other people's health. So you are strictly under government supervision. They remove you and they put you separately away from other people, and then you are guarded 24/7. You are just like you are just like a big time criminal that the government really is looking up to.
Okay, so now like this issue of our marjories or anybody that came from a center with high risk zone to another zone, they'll not take you out and put you somewhere else to monitor you for 2 weeks. What are they under? Is it isolation or quarantine?
No, that is isolation.
Okay, you go under isolation.
So they are basically monitoring you. So at that time, you are not at whatever, so you can even basically do some basic things yourself. But once it's quarantine, you are in case less than priority number one. So at this time around, nothing. You don't do anything at your will. It's
okay. So the treatment one gets at an isolation center is different from what
totally
you get at a quarantine.
Yes. Once you're in quarantine, you get more intensive treatment than when you're in isolation. Isolation is just monitoring, so it's just looking at whatever is going on with you. So this medication treatment might just be mild on few this and that.
So aren't they supposed to be taken care of? Because I mean, in isolation, you don't have contact with your family members or any source. You are just there at the mercy of whoever is keeping you. Supposed to provide for you food.
Definitely, they ought to be, taken care of. They ought to make provisions for them as well, if it's possible.
And God knows the number of people and what the conditions are in this kind of isolation center.
So that case in Gombe actually further exposes our inability to really contain these things. It can't contain. There are cases of saying, okay, earlier you guys were talking about saying the lockdown might be brought back if the cases rise. Yes, the thing is, it's not if the cases continue. The cases will continue to rise since the lockdown. I'm not saying that the cases we are now seeing now came after the lockdown, but just look at the fact that we are now having about 240 something cases in one day. We are having 140 something cases in one day, and all of that. Now this is before these cases are the ones that were tested before the lockdown, and sometimes after the lockdown they already confirmed. So by next week we don't know what kind of figures we'll be turning in at the end of the whole day. So the whole lockdown thing is going to come back at a point, and then when it comes back, it's going to be a total lockdown, just like what you're having in River State. You know, in River State there was also a lockdown.
Well, I thought they said 24 hours. 24 hours,
like 24 hours from 12 to 12, indefinitely. So you are like meant to be in your house full time. You're not going out anywhere. So even the government gave them 3 days to do, buy, market, shop, whatever you will need at the moment. But for now, when you now look at that measure, you don't know if it's really helping matters in River State, because when they first declared lockdown, they were at 2 cases. Now they are at 14 cases, and so declare maybe total lockdown, 24 hours complete lockdown. Perhaps maybe the governor we want to monitor that to see if any more cases and if these cases that maybe if they're going to be new cases, then we also want to understand if these new cases are contacts of the previous cases they already had, or just new cases that just maybe from somewhere else or whatever it is.
So the governors have that kind of power to do what we can do.
Yeah, exactly. They do.
Just lock down totally 24 hours. You don't need a presidency to say stuff.
No, you don't.
So why did you need a president to say Lagos and Ogun?
Because I think at that time the federal government took special interest, and then this is something that the state government could have done on their own. But then because the federal government has now has now stepped in and taken interest and already working towards it, so the federal government could go. Despite this lockdown of Wike in River State, the federal government could still come out and declare a total lockdown in the entire country. So it just goes along and everything just goes.
All right. Yesterday we talked about the infectious disease control bill, and at the end of the day, not like at the end of our session, at the end of the day yesterday, it was out in the news that finally the bill is going to be subjected to public hearing. And after I said whatever we discussed in depth about it yesterday. Now, given the reaction of people, today again we heard in the news that even CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, have written to the assembly to actually trash the bill. So now going forward to subject it to public hearing, isn't it like kind of dead on arrival? You can already expect what Nigerians are going to say about the bill.
Yeah, I just think whatever the situation is, you're talking about churches right in place right now. I know that at some point we're just trying to curtail the whole spread, especially in churches or centers.
No, I'm talking about the disease bill in the National Assembly.
Oh, okay.
That the House of Reps, they finally said it's going to go for public.
They
wanted to just do it like
and say that not every bill requires public hearing. But even at this public hearing, although I've not really confirmed it, but the reports I basically saw was that even the public hearing is not going to be open to the public, where people come to the National Assembly and sit in the hall and then debate the matter. It was going to be more like people can send in their memoranda to the assembly, so they read it and understand that. But then I don't think anybody is going to sit down to read articles sent from various people.
Because a lot of people are taking
they might just select a few people who might have notified them that we're going to send this thing, because they already know that there is a protest against kind of opposition against the bill, and like you said, subjecting it to public hearing, you take it to public hearing, it will be dead on arrival. But then let's also understand that I've got to understand this country, that this country is the political scene. I don't know how to put it. Nothing is real, particularly. So you could have a public hearing, and then you think that because of this public outcry against the bill, you will expect that it to be dead on arrival. But by the time you get there, you find several groups that have come to be in support of the bill. Yes.
Okay, now just like in line with that, what actually happened? What was the last about the social media bill? There was a public hearing that
it's still hanging.
So Up till now, no.
Yes, you know, after, at the point, I think sometime in January or was it early February, they had to do the public hearing for the social media HB whatever. Yes, and then
people tore it to pieces.
Yes, and then since then it hasn't really gone on anything. It has just been there hanging, and that's just where it's going to be. I think at the point you just hang there, and then people will forget about it. But until somebody else who is will now come out and sneakily pass it with another different title entirely.
Wow. So let's hope it doesn't happen, because this is one of health. This is health, and we're talking about pandemic. We're talking about a whole lot of things that needs speedy action. If that bill has to be passed, I mean, action needs to be, expedited on it, given the seriousness of what Nigerians are going through right now. Now, before we go, let's quickly look at one other salient fact. Now, there's an ease on lockdown. People can go out and shop. People can go to the bank. People can go every other place. But people are supposed to stay far away from their worship places. I mean, this morning I heard somebody complaining bitterly. I mean, why are we still not going to church? Why are the mosques not really fully open? Somebody's not saying something. There's something behind this. So why really, actually, if we can go to the market, if we can go to the bank, under whatever condition, why can't we go to church under that condition? Or go to a mosque under the same condition?
That's actually a fine. That's actually a fine question, because right now, when you even look at the whole, it's not the lockdown. People are not even adhering to the little guidelines that they are giving. Yeah. So I think it's even going to be more effective applying the guidelines in churches than even outside, because yes, the church can decide to say, okay, when you come, sit. Away from each other, and while you are dismissing, they could also be very coordinated, like let it be gradually, like
row by row,
yes,
maintain this distance,
yes, and then you go. So it's really easy to adhere to these guidelines.
And they can also spread their services.
Yes.
You used to have 3, you can have 5 services of 30 minutes, and then you make sure it's no more than 20 people inside, well spaced out.
That is if your church is not as big.
Yeah, even if it's as big as, you can have as many as 10 services.
No, I mean,
the number of people you can contain.
I think some people were adhering to that new method too, because the church I worship in, they even tell you strictly that you come for this service, and make sure when you attend, everyone is supposed to attend one service. We do 7 services in my churches, so when you attend one, make room for another person that's not attended the church or service to come and attend. So some people were adhering and following different.
That was before the lockdown.
Before the lockdown, yes, and then the space and social distancing was also put in place, like a distance. We're putting some chairs in between. Yes. Then that particular chair, you won't sit on it. The other one, someone can sit, and the other one. So some measures were already set in place before you took the whole lockdown process.
So maybe the government have not really thought about it.
Yes, because the thing is, once you open markets, in fact, markets are even more crowded than churches.
Yeah, exactly.
It's markets where you even get to meet different people and rub bodies with them and whatever. So, if you are easing the lockdown, you don't need to exclude these churches and
because
mosques,
I feel personally they can be open. Because in as much as churches were giving the coffee, okay, so and so time you can go out, so it can actually be placed during churches. After all, it's Sundays, sometimes Sundays, and sometimes people have weekly activities. If there's anything they can actually do, maybe is to at least scrap out weekly activities if they want to take anything into consideration about church opening, and then pull out for Sunday activities, and then the method of you saying this particular time frame, maybe 30 minutes or an hour, and if it's churches that have never tried splitting time services, like first service and all, to just try, because I think they are looking at it to be like, okay, there are some churches that have crowd and then they are going to all come, because I know of a church that they were strictly, from the beginning of the lockdown, they were actually following up that church, it shouldn't be open and all, so the crowd that is there would actually trigger or make the virus pass and all that. So if at all churches have to be considered, they can set a measure that, okay, Sundays churches can actually come if they don't want to operate maybe their weekly activities. So
I think the only challenge that they might just have about churches would be like you suggested, that if the church maybe used to have 3 or 4 services, they can extend it to 7. It would not be controlling the number of people that come for a particular service. So maybe the first service, people just because they know it's not going to be spread across 7 distance, so people might just want to attend, and then maybe you plan that your church is a 50,000 seating capacity and just need only 20,000 people to come for that, and then I know that people just turn up as much as possible. You might not allow everybody getting, but already there's that heavy traffic. And then some don't go to church with their vehicles that you could say, okay, so you stay in your vehicle until this service is over, and then you can come in.
But then those churches that have overflow, you can use those overflows for waiting, and even while they are waiting, the distance thing. Or you could even.
But the thing is, even if you are waiting, you are also listening to the ministry. So you could just be as well as you are
government is actually going down with this. Because some churches are transmitting through online now. You watch them on TV in your house. So it's fine.
Yeah, a lot of people are just comfortable like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's physical service is just
I myself have missed attending, physical services.
And then the fact that also the revenue too is not coming because it's not the offerings don't come.
Yes, true.
I was about saying that perhaps maybe because churches don't pay tax, so the government might not really raising it that way.
Okay, yeah, they don't get any revenue from.
But I also suggest that government should even start looking at the fact of even taxing some of these religions.
Please don't start.
Why? Why? Seriously, because churches actually function, all these religious bodies, mosques, churches, whatever it is, even the traditional shrines, they basically function because there's a decent government in place. They use government facilities that are being done mostly by taxpayers. So you use taxpayers' money to do something for this business, and then this business is not getting to pay tax, whatever like that. So,
but somehow they pay like light bills. They pay like their light bills. They pay the water. Some of these utilities they pay.
Every company that pays tax also pays this different utility bills, including lights, water, whatever it is.
So it's also a form of adding to the government's cover. So must they pay tax?
No, it's actually very important that they pay tax.
How about green churches?
Green churches, of course.
Every tax according to your capacity.
Yeah, well, of course, according to your capacity. So you won't tax this church behind us here the same way you are going to tax Let's Dunamis, for example, or in Koza, you know.
So, but there's going to be a lot of bottlenecks to taxing churches because the government must have thought about it. Why were they not even being taxed in the first place? So let's not go there. Let's not even make that suggestion. Let that status quo remain. All right, we have been talking a whole lot of things about the situation, COVID-19 in Nigeria, and of course we just spoke about the concerns about Nigerians about why they can't still go to their worship places. Since they can go to the market, they can go to the malls, they can go to the bank and do some other stuff under strict conditions. Perhaps the strict conditions could also be applied to the worship places so that Nigerians can also congregate, because they say where one or two gather together in the name of God, God is always there. Yeah, there's joy in communal. And perhaps maybe they gather together to pray, COVID-19 will go faster than individual prayers.
Who knows? Yes.
Yeah, perhaps.
All right, thank you so much, Victor Temba and Joseph Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the news COVID-19 situation room today. And that's the much we'll have for you on the situation room today. Join us again tomorrow and have yourself a lovely day. I am Charles Ibe.
Now the match don't start. Tunde na him first catch coronavirus. Him pass am to Sarah. Sarah go market and she dash Adamu. Adamu carry the virus run, come give him children for house. Now so the children carry the virus enter playground. From playground, it can't enter grandpa body. Grandpa take over, pass and give him friends as they shake hand for road. Now so grandpa friends carry coronavirus go their house. Before you know, they don't throw away and give everybody for yard. Now so corona enter box 18 and he say goal! My people, if we give coronavirus chance, it go win all of us. Protect yourself and your family. Stay inside your house and make sure say you dey wash your hand with soap and water at least 12 times a day. If you get cough and fever and it dey hard you to breathe, call 0800 026 7662. Corona dey kill. Make we careful
Coronavirus no be our friend Make we push am comot Corona no be our friend Say make we push am comot My country people, you see this Coronavirus no be joke. Make we help ourselves and our government pursue this yamayama sickness from our country. Make we remember to wash our hand every time with soap and water. Make we no forget to sanitize our hand and wear face mask when we come out. Also, make we avoid crowd and keep social distancing when we come out. My people, if you see say you don't get symptoms, make you rush go hospital make them treat you. Coronavirus no be our friend though. Make we remember say prevention better pass cure. Coronavirus no be our friend though. Make we push and come out to you.